want to offer a sincere thank you to my Year 11 math teacher, Mrs. Gray. Mrs. Gray, I don't even know if Mrs. Gray is still alive. This was 20-something years ago, and she would have been in her 60s when she taught me. But she taught me a lesson that I've never forgotten and has had a massive impact on my life. Now, Mrs. Gray probably can't remember who I am, wouldn't remember who I am, and if she did, probably doesn't want to remember who I am because I was a horrible student in her class. I didn't listen, I didn't pay attention, I didn't really like math, I got by, and I could look back on it now and say, I think her behavior management probably wasn't great, and it was a bit of both, right? I was a big dick, and she wasn't a great manager of the class. She had used a very basic behavior management strategy in the beginning of class, which was to write things on the board, and we copied it down. Okay, a better behavior management strategy, I think, would be inspire kids by your content and get them hooked in what you're trying to teach them and show them meaningful, show it's meaningful. But I am biased because I'm coming from a place that doesn't really have behavior management problems, so my experience in that is, again, pretty limited, so it's limited to that context. Anyway, what is the lesson that Mrs. Gray taught me? Well, I still remember the math class where we were working on percentages, and we had to calculate, okay, you could buy something now for $200, or you could buy something over a 24-month period, right? And it had a 4% interest rate. And so you do the sums, and so you go, okay, buy now for $200. And then once you did the sums with the 4% interest rate, right, that you'd have to pay on the loan, it would end up being like $280. And we did a few examples like that, and that always stuck with me. I can just see the difference. Oh, sure. And at that time, right, we were seeing this all the time in the marketing about, don't pay now and pay later, and credit cards and interest rates, and pay by lay-by and pay by all those. I don't even know the names of them because I've never used them. I've never had a credit card. I've never bought anything on lay-by or purchase. If ever I've wanted something, I've saved for it and I've bought it. That includes big purchases, right? Like cars and computers. And the only two things I've ever had a loan for is a mortgage, which my first one I paid off before I was 30, but it was only like $100,000 mortgage, so that's not much. And my second mortgage, which I again almost paid off, but anyway, so again, that lesson's still sticking, right? Where I'm trying to pay off my debt as fast as possible. I don't like debt, and I don't like paying interest. And the other was my student loan, which I paid off within 6 months of my first year of working, and because I wanted to keep my debt down. This math is the most common subject where people critique in school and say, when are we ever going to use this? Math is great, but it's just not taught through the lens of application. And so my video here is about the value of two things. One, planting a seed that one day will take hold and root and can have a meaningful impact that you'll never know it had. Mrs. Gray will never know she had that effect on me as a teacher, and I really kind of regret, and maybe one day she'll see this. Okay, that one lesson had a huge impact on my financial education. Secondly, that as teachers is, I think, the goal for us is we should be choosing content and choosing these seeds that we know one day may take hold and root and make a lasting, meaningful difference and an impact in our students' lives. And the reality is that most of them won't. I'm sure no other kid in my math class from that day remembers that lesson. But who knows what other lessons from that year that they learned. And you might know by now if you followed the video, I'm very much a fan of teachers rolling their own empire, of teachers taking back control of our content. This idea of outsourcing education to computers, I think, is nonsense, and I think it's going to lead us down the wrong path. And I also think it's going to massively advantage kids who already have a whole bunch of advantages, and it's going to disadvantage the kids who are coming from struggling backgrounds. I'm not interested in reducing achievement gaps in education. I think that's the wrong goal. I'm interested in raising the achievement of all my students, regardless of where they're from and who they are. And so I think if we as teachers can take back our content and go, here's something I really want you to learn because it's valuable, I think that's the mission. And so for Mrs. Gray, for that one lesson, everything else in your math class I forgot, but that one lesson was so valuable and had a deep and lasting impact. And for that, I thank you.